So I just wanted to drop some info. Yeah, I've usually been doing these timelines kind of detached, because I've been doing other stuff for Nine World Chronicles. If you're not up on that channel, I go into a little deeper level of mythology, more personalized. So I'll drop some links in there if you guys are interested in taking a look at it. But for this one, I wanted to talk about just the timeline of Cthulhu. And I've been kind of exploring this deity in a couple of different levels. This was a great angle for this channel, for Myth Archive, to talk about him. This is a great archive. So let's talk about this. Like, Cthulhu has now been on the scene, relatively speaking, since 1921, right? So this is a long time. That was just a couple of years, 2 years before my grandfather would have been born, and it's a different framework, right? I'm gonna talk about the timeline, but I kind of want to talk about what it is. This is like Lovecraftian mythology. This is H.P. Lovecraft. The names you're gonna hear: H.P. Lovecraft. You're gonna hear Cthulhu, right? You're gonna hear Asthoth, right? You're gonna hear Yog Sothoth. Very powerful. That's the core. Those four entities are at the core of the structure of this belief system, 100% of the way. And what we've noticed is that Cthulhu's particularly has really risen to a more modern prevalence. This deity is everywhere. I don't know if you guys realize it. Plushy dolls, games, there's Facebook pages made about him. And I wanted to understand why, like if I could link it to society and see what was going on that made this possible. So about the time we start hearing early readings of him, this is early 1900s. So what we see is like 1890s. There's the collapse of certainty culturally, right? And this is why this matters, okay? Because what you're getting is, at this time, Darwin's evolution theory is widely accepted, right? And then we start getting all this industry, right? So things are changing. So we're starting to see like Freud talking about the unconscious mind. Einstein's physics are reshaping reality, right? We're coming out of World War II, which is like 1914 to 1980. So humanity is kind of getting the layers peeled back. And in a sense, we lose this illusion of having stability. We start to understand that the universe is not small and localized. This wasn't a place where like we're at the middle of this, right? Like we're the important thing. And everyone's like, oh, look at that. There's some humans there, man. We better be cool with those guys. We're starting to realize that it's a huge, giant, catastrophic universe. It's mechanical. It has a long history. It has nothing to do with us, and in fact, is massively, massively impersonal. All at the same time. This is a major blow for who we are, right? Coincide that with historically, we see at 1918, 1920, we get the Spanish flu pandemic. So we get a massive amounts of death. This culturally means that human life suddenly, for the survivors, starting to be a lot more fragile and disposable. This matters when we start seeing our own lives as fragile and disposable. So cosmic horror doesn't emerge in stable areas. Cosmic horrors like Cthulhu, this emerges when people are feeling small themselves, so they write stories about bigger, more significant things. So by the time we get to the 1920s, remember all the stuff really gets going in like 1927. By the time we get to the 1920s, we've come out of the war. So you have this post-war disillusionment that's very prevalent. And in fact, I think the first, oh, maybe I'm thinking about another story. I thought they were tied to like a former Marine. I don't know if Lovecraft served in the military or not. But you see this like, post-war delusion. We've got a rise in modern types of literature. You have which is central because this is a new type of storytelling, and that doesn't go away. We see a breakdown of traditional religion, so it kind of gives people a new lane. And he writes during this period. Lovecraft writes during all this stuff is going on, and then Cthulhu himself would debut in 1928. So this isn't random timing. This stuff is all like, it's all worked out and lined up together. At the same time, we're experiencing this expansion of deep knowledge, right? We know more. We're in discovery mode. Astronomy is expanding the scale of the cosmos, right? Quantum theory is destabilizing what we know about our material world. So cosmic things becomes horror both on the macro and the microscope level. And this myth reflects this destabilization that we get from the scientific community. Like Cthulhu 100% explains that. We go to 1930s, 1940s, we see the synchronization of the world and Christ. So we have the Great Depression. That wouldn't leave a mark, right? There's no mark left by the Great Depression. You have the rise of fascism. You have ultimately World War II. Lovecraft dies in 1937. So we're starting to see the foundations. And then later, someone formalized the mythos structures. So cultural anxiety deepens. This is our time where culturally, it's like, right? It's going bad. And the idea of indifferent kind of frames the narrative here. Like this massive force who's like, I don't care about any of you guys. And that's tougher. It's a scale thing. By the 1970s, we're still kind of in this. Right to the 1980s, you get the Cold War. You get the cosmic horror resurgence as well during the same period of time. Cold War, space race aftermath, right? After we've been talking about this, we start finally getting tabletop games like these role playing games. Now we finally got this. So in 1981, we get the Call of Cthulhu. The RPG gets released, and this is another cosmic horror game that becomes interactive, right? It was very powerful. It's huge. It shifts from passive reading to participating dread of what Cthulhu means. Then you step into 2000. Now it's bad boys digitized. It's a digital age with, existential anxiety. That's what develops. This is AI developing. This is a climate crisis awareness. This is all the bad stuff. And games are out there, man. Bloodborne, Darkest Dungeon, Call of Cthulhu. All these things are out there. This is cosmic horror fully on display. So for this, the important question is not saying who was Cthulhu. It's like when and where and how did he become sitting on top of the world in terms of like merchandising sales and followers. I don't know, but I think this gives us a really good insight into who he was. So I wanted to break this down, the timeline, a little more personally for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a like and subscribe. Let me know other DVDs you're thinking about. If you want to watch a different kind of breakdown, I'll leave the link to the Night World Chronicles channel, which you should be subscribed to as well. And we'll get into chopping up the hows and the whys and the whens and what these guys actually meant. In the meantime, in between time, I thank you for stopping in as always. Greatly appreciated. I'm humbled by your presence. And yeah, I'll be back when